Hello, my name is Mário Rolim, and I'm a PhD candidate at Universidade Federal de Pernambuco, located in Recife, Brazil. I'm currently developing a thesis project which both questions the consensual ways of understanding the links between politics and rap and proposes new ways of understanding these links based on concepts of choreography, politics, and aesthetics. In this presentation, I will talk about Ice Cube's song It Was a Good Day, which is often dismissed as just a feel-good anthem, but can also be linked to a specific kind of political action through a choreographical lens. As it has been extensively discussed, the social tensions were huge in Los Angeles in the early 90s, with widespread violence, poverty, and unemployment. Black and poor people were subjected to brutal forms of policing to the point that in 1992, almost half of all young black males living in South Central LA were registered by the police force in their gang database. These tensions erupted in the riots of April and May 1992, in which thousands of bodies ran to the streets to protest the acquittal of the four policemen who were filmed beating Rodney King. Widely related to gang violence in the public imagination, the local rap scene was in a moment of huge popularity, and hardcore rappers like Tupac, NWA, and Ice-T were both heavily influenced by this climate and produced songs that worked as a sort of soundtrack to the revolution. The lead single in this imaginary soundtrack would surely be NWA's Fuck the Police, co-written by Ice Cube, DOC, and MC Ren. Fuck the Police is widely viewed in rap studies by scholars like Trisha Rose and Michael Eric Dyson as a standard of political rap, mainly because of its cold beats, hard postures, and lyrics denouncing police brutality. Despite the importance of such theories, I'd like to explore another notion of politics that occurs via performance, related to other concepts of policing. The specific concept of policing I'm referring to is Jacques Rancière's idea of police as a consensual, hierarchical, and unequal distribution of the sensible, which assigns different bodily functions with the corresponding sensory equipment in a given social context. For Rancière, police isn't only related to the police force as we know it, but also with who is counted as a citizen and what is seeable and sayable in a public space. In one of the interpretations of Rancière's thought that excites me the most, André Lepecki coins the term choreopolice as a system that assigns bodies to proper circulation in proper spaces and modes of movement. On the other hand, Rancière's concept of politics relates to a reconfiguration of a given distribution of the sensible, in which people who are not counted conjure a scene of the senses where they enact an equality that was not given and invent new ways of making sense of the sensible. For Lepecki, this definition is also choreographical, in a choreopolitics where people invent bodies which are no longer suited to domination. Still, according to Rancière, aesthetics or artistic performances like the ones we see in rap music would be political when they enact or offer the public the tools to embody these new and more equal bodily capacities. Rancière's definition of politics based on scenes and enactments allows me to think of politics in close connection to performance. In addition, Lepecki's emphasis on choreography lets me conceive the term not only as a dance executed in a specific context, but also as a particular series of movements, gestures, and postures, or even a distribution of bodies in a given space and time. That has given me the frame to analyze rap performances, not generally recognized as dance, as choreographies. With that in mind, I have been considering how the consensual way of conceiving political performances in rap is closely linked to specific choreographies and ways of theorizing them. I have been calling choreographical regimes of rap this connection among manners of performance, ways of perceiving them, and ways of theorizing them as political or not. In my research, I have so far focused on three regimes: the hardcore regime, which constitutes the consensus in terms of political rap; the festive regime, where politics is linked to the act of celebrating and dancing despite of the effects of oppression; and the quiet regime, which I will focus on now. As Frantz Fanon made clear, colonialism and racism have deep corporeal and subjective impacts. One of them is a proneness to high muscular tension in a state of alertness, which creates in turn a desire to release this tension that can be achieved in a lot of ways, such as dance and physical acts of violence. Ice Cube's album, The Predator, was released in November 1992, a few months after the riots. It's an edgy album that seems to present Ice Cube in such a state of alertness through its hardcore sounds, tense postures, and aggressive voice. But there is one exception: the song It Was a Good Day, the album's second single. Using a guitar sample from Footsteps in the Dark, a slow funk ballad by the Isley Brothers, It Was a Good Day has a quietness that isn't heard anywhere else on the album. In the song, Ice Cube calmly raps about the events of a joyful day. He has sex, plays basketball, drives his car peacefully, and the day is also defined by what didn't happen. No helicopter was heard patrolling the area, Ice Cube didn't have to use his AK, and nobody he knew got killed. In the music video, the hypermobility commonly seen in Ice Cube's or even NWA's music videos is absent, replaced by an use of slow motion and black and white images whenever Ice Cube executes more mobile gestures, like driving his car, passing by a police vehicle, and playing basketball. It's a choreography of slowness, and it feels just like a dream. I believe this song and the music video that accompanies it can be seen as a political moment, being a good example of the kind of politics that is enacted in what I call the quiet choreographical regime, where the political dissensus is not centered on an act of speaking truth to power, like in the hardcore regime, but rather in a choreography of joy or alacridade. This term is defined by Muniz as an emotional state found in Black diasporic culture in which a person feels an attunement of the senses linked to the pleasure of living, a pleasure that was brutally denied both to Ice Cube and to Black and poor people in general in that context. Ice Cube was commonly seen at the time as violent, uncivilized, and even an agent of racial hate, but proposed a choreography of healing despite of all the chaos. I think these moments can be linked to recent works of Brazilian rappers like Emicida, Rdica Barbosa, and Rincon Sapiência, who, faced with the violent consequences of having a neoliberal fascist government, have been emphasizing the importance of healing, self-care, rest, and joy. It's a fragile form of politics of aesthetics, though, like all of them, and subjected to different interpretations and uses depending on the context. Amid protests after the assassination of George Floyd, Ice Cube posted a picture in his Instagram titled "It Was a Good Day" last year. It had two AKs on it. That's it. Thank you.